What if the pain you buried deepest could open a door not just to your past, but to a whole other lifetime, where the air tastes of rust and forgotten rain, and every shadow whispers your name? In Mao Episode 1, titled Manoka and Mao, released on April 4, 2026, that door swings wide. This is no gentle time travel tale like stepping into a warm memory from history books. It is a cold hand grabbing your wrist, pulling you into the Taisho era where curses feel as real as the scar on your own heart. From the very first frame I felt it. The heavy silence of loss, the sharp bite of fear, and the quiet fire of survival that lives inside every one of us who has ever wondered, why am I still here? The episode does not hand you answers. It plants a seed of mystery so deep you cannot look away. You feel the need to know what happens next the same way you need air after holding your breath too long. Manoka Kiba is a 15-year-old girl living in our modern world, carrying the weight of losing her parents in a terrible accident when she was only 7. She feels weak, out of place, like a ghost in her own life. One day, she steps into an abandoned shopping arcade she has avoided for years, the same place tied to her family's tragedy. In an instant, the world shifts. The bright lights of today vanish. She stands in the Taisho era, early 1900s Japan, surrounded by faded streets and transparent figures in old-fashioned clothes that drift like smoke. Strange creatures called Ayakashi prowl. A demon attacks. Then he appears, Mao, a mysterious young onmyoji, exorcist, who has walked this earth for over 900 years because of a curse no one fully understands yet. With calm power, he saves her. But his words cut deeper than any claw. You're a demon, aren't you? Streaming on Hulu in the US, Disney Plus in many countries, and NHK General in Japan, this episode stands alone as a perfect first chapter while gently reminding fans of the manga that something bigger, something ancient and personal, is stirring. It leaves you exactly where the story wants you. Heart pounding, questions burning, desperate to cross back through that same arcade door. The story moves like a slow, deliberate river that suddenly drops into a waterfall. It begins in the quiet ache of Nanoka's everyday life, school, smoothies forced down by worried family, the heavy feeling that she does not quite belong anywhere. Then the time slip hits without warning, like the floor giving way under your feet the way it does in nightmares we all remember from childhood. The pacing is perfect for what this show promises. Not constant explosions, but a building dread that feels alive. Key revelations come in small, sharp moments. A demon's attack, Mao's effortless victory, that single accusing line at the end. No cheap twists, just the slow tightening of a rope you did not see being tied. The cliffhanger is masterful. It does not scream tune in next week. It simply leaves you standing there with Manoka, staring at Mao's eyes and wondering if the real monster is the one who just saved her life. Some fans on Reddit asked about cloudy parts, like why Nanoka's body reacts strangely or what exactly links her to Mao. Drawing from the manga's early chapters without spoiling future episodes, the curse they share comes from the same kind of cat-like yokai called a byoki. Manoka survived something similar as a child. That survival left a mark, a power that lets her slip through time but also makes her smell like prey or predator to creatures from the other side. The anime trusts you to feel the mystery first and understand later. That choice makes every unanswered question feel like a promise instead of a flaw. Manoka is not the loud, fearless heroine we sometimes expect. She is you or me on our worst day, scared, angry for a second, then quietly determined. Her trauma is not told in long speeches. It lives in the way she walks, the way her voice cracks just a little. Mao is something rarer, a man who has seen centuries yet still speaks, softly, like someone afraid his words might break the world again. His calm feels earned, heavy with history. Their first meeting already shows the spark of something deeper than simple teamwork. You sense old wounds in both of them, his from a past he cannot escape, hers from a present she cannot forget. Their choices feel real, their silence even more powerful than their words. This episode asks the questions we all carry but rarely say out loud. What if the worst thing that ever happened to you was also the thing that made you special? Is survival a gift or a curse? Power and morality tangle here like roots under a graveyard. Nanoka's pain opens doors no one else can see, just as real-life grief can force us to see the world in sharper, darker colors. Mao's long life shows the cost of fighting monsters. Sometimes you become part monster yourself. It is not preachy. It simply sits with you the way great stories from history or your own quiet nights do, and makes you wonder which parts of yourself you would trade to feel less alone. The Taisho era is not just pretty backgrounds. It feels haunted, alive with Ayakashi that hide in plain sight. The rules of this universe, time portals, curses that do not kill heal but change you forever, slide into place naturally. You believe every shadow could bite. The script is clean and sharp, never wasting a line. Mao's quiet you're a demon, aren't you? Lands like a door slamming shut in an empty house. It echoes long after the credits. No cliches, just words that feel lived in, like conversations you overhear on a late-night train and cannot forget. Art directors Hiroshi Kato and Izumi Hoki paint two different worlds with color alone. Modern Japan is bright and sharp, almost too real. The Taisho streets are soft pastels and deep shadows, like an old photograph left too long in the rain. Chief animation director Yoshihito Hishinuma, known from other Takahashi works, keeps movement fluid when it needs to thrill and perfectly still when it needs to terrify. The demon fight is quick and brutal, but the real beauty is in the quiet. Dust floating in sunlight, a single leaf drifting across an empty street. These choices do not just look good, they make loneliness visible. Director Teruo Sato uses low angles and long, empty shots to make you feel small and watched. The editing breathes. It holds on faces just long enough for you to see the fear behind the bravery. Composer Shu Kanematsu lets silence do half the work. A lone piano note can feel heavier than any explosion. When the music swells during Mao's fight, it feels like the world itself is holding its breath. The quiet after is even louder. Yuki Kaji as Mao is a revelation. His deep, gentle voice carries 900 years of weariness without ever sounding tired. You believe every word. Natsumi Koeda as Nanoka brings modern energy mixed with real sorrow. She sounds like a girl who has already cried in the bathroom at school and decided to keep going anyway. Momoka Terasawa as Otoya, Mao's young-looking Shikigami assistant, adds calm wisdom that feels strangely comforting in the middle of chaos. Their performances do not just speak lines. They breathe life into scars. I felt the episode in my chest, like the moment you realize a dream is turning into a memory you cannot escape. Nanoka's loneliness reminded me of every time I have stood in a crowded room and still felt invisible. The final line from Mao hit like a quiet thunderclap, the kind that shifts everything without making a sound. It is the collision of two cursed souls across time, and suddenly you realize the story is not just about monsters. It is about the monsters we carry inside and the strange hope that maybe someone else can see them too. The episode left me with that rare feeling. I need to know what happens next, not because I want entertainment, but because part of me is still standing in that empty arcade, waiting for the next door to open. Some might say the pace is slow or the horror too quiet for today's fast world. I understand, but that slowness is not a mistake. It is the point. Like a good ghost story told around a dying fire, it needs space to settle under your skin. The beauty here is in what is not said, and that takes courage. For a first episode, it balances mystery and emotion without feeling cheap or rushed. Any small confusion about the rules of the curse only makes me lean in closer. Mao episode 1 succeeds completely in its goals. It introduces a rich, haunted world, two unforgettable souls, and a mystery that feels personal. Its greatest strength is the atmosphere that wraps around your heart and refuses to let go. Its only weakness, if you can even call it that, is that it leaves you hungry for more. So here is the question I leave you with. If a door opened right now in the quiet corner of your own life, and on the other side waited answers to every scar you carry, would you step through? After watching this episode, I already know my answer. The real question is, do you dare find out yours? Turn on Mao. The arcade is waiting, and something ancient is waiting with it.